My name is Dr. Stacey Evans-Puglisi, and I'm delighted to be with you and to bring you habit number 2. Because when I set aside the time this year to get quieter and to get calmer and to heed the still small voice inside of me, this habit landed on me like a revelation, and it changed my priorities quickly and it changed them effortlessly. And I delight in sharing good news. So I'm going to tell you what my revelation was. Habit number 2 is to know that our real to-do list is not in front of us. Our real to-do list is inside of us. And the habit this week is to know and live the real to-do list. And in order to do that, we have to set aside space and quiet so we can hear the still small voice inside of us that's going to whisper our mightiest call. And it's going to whisper the priority of what is urgent and what is on our list in front of us. And when we attend to this, our life is ripe with joy and the right perspective. And I know we're all hungry for more joy and more perspective. Because I don't know about you, but I spent a lot of days and a lot of seasons and a lot of years of my life getting pulled out of bed by the wrong to-do list. And there were days that I was pulled out of bed and I had this huge to-do list awaiting me and I dreaded everything on the list. But when the real one shows up, when our real to-do list shows up and we hear it and we hear the call of it, it pulls us out of bed and we get excited for it because it is lit up and it's alive with vision and with priority and the proper perspective. Because we're living stressed out, maxed out, drowning lives because we're heeding the call of the wrong to-do list. So we are just going to set a time aside so that we can hear the real one. And I don't want to box you in here because I know a lot of people and a lot of women that are called to different fields and have different focuses. But I do also know that sometimes we need to hear examples of what a real to-do list would look like so we can catch a concept. So I'm just going to share with you mine, and I'm not going to gussy it up even because I'm tempted to gussy it up. But I don't think that benefits anyone when we dress these things up. So I'm just going to tell you what was on my real to-do list and encourage you to tell me what is on yours. So the first order of business this morning was that I would apologize because I did not carry joy and I did not carry a tremendous amount of peace when I put 5 kids to bed last night and I was asked for my 18th glass of water and I was grouchier than I wanted to be. And then when I woke up this morning, I felt and I knew that I needed to give an apology to the one of my girls that was on the receiving end of me being a grouch. And so another one was that I knew that instead of just drowning in my own assignments and all that I needed to do, that I sat down for a specific amount of time so that I could simplify and I could strategize, so I could conquer what was in my head and move it into my life. I also knew that I needed to create space to ask some key people in my life how they were doing and set myself aside and truly listen to what they were saying and just show up and be fully present for what they needed me to hear about what was happening in their lives. It also required me to accept help. And sometimes I think we get this temptation just as women, especially just to handle it all and not accept help and just to manage all these balls well. But I knew in order priority, if I were going to live the real to-do list, it required me to humble myself and accept the help that I was offered. Because sometimes the real to-do list is going to make us pick up a phone and call someone to have a 15-minute conversation that we've been dreading. Or sometimes it's going to call us to do something that's meaningful and right and edifying to someone else. But it's easier just to grab our phone and connect with it rather than to connect with the real to-do list sometimes. Because the real to-do list is always going to require us to engage in our lives and respond to our lives. And sometimes it's just easier to pick up our phones and connect with it rather than to connect with our priorities. And I know that this is true, and I just want to make myself clear that I am not demonizing the phone. This phone is a wonderful and it's a powerful tool, and it enables me to talk and connect with people all over the world, and I'm so grateful for it. But I also know that if I'm not conscious about my relationship with my phone, that it will lure me with its images and with its bells and whistles like one of Pavlov's dogs. And I will learn to respond to it rather than to respond to my priorities. And I don't want that, because the phone itself can be its own taskmaster, and its bells and whistles can call us to engage with it rather than to engage with our lives again. And so I know this. But when I think about what history will say about the people that honor their to-do list, the people that still honored it, we still know about their lives generations and centuries later. So I'm thinking about Vincent van Gogh, and his real to-do list was clear to him. He painted masterpieces, though he didn't sell one. Beethoven composed music in symphonies even when he became deaf and was deaf to the symphonies that he was creating. Milton wrote poetry even when he couldn't read a word of what he wrote. And I am changed by beholding lives and beholding people that had no excuses over their lives, who went in and pressed on into their dreams even when their difficulties ramped up and circumstances said it was impossible. So I'm just eager for us not to make excuses, but to live the lives that we were created to live, and live them full of joy. Because when we catch joy and our lives and our to-do list become infused with joy, it calls us to transcend our circumstances, and it calls us to transcend the mundane, and it leads us into joy. And I just know that we are all desperate for more joy. So we're going to practice this week attending to the real to-do list inside of us, and making 30 minutes every day to set aside time to get quiet and to heed the voice that's going to whisper our mightiest call and usher us into lives of legacy and usher us into lives of joy. Thank you. And I can't wait to hear when you come.